Hello students, today I, Mrs. Caroline Shaji, am standing here to teach you a poem. And that poem, as you know, is from the 9th standard's Beehive book. The name of the poem is a 4-letter word. Could anybody guess that? It's just 4 letters. And I'll give you a smaller hint. The first letter is W. Yes, you guessed right. The name of the poem is Wind. It's just wind. And who wrote this poem? This poem was written by Subramanya Bharati. He is a Tamil writer, a Tamil poet, and he wrote this poem also in Tamil language. But it was translated into English by another person called A.K. Ramanujan. So, let us start with a new poem today, and that is called Wind. Now, if you read the first few lines of that poem, you know what the poet says? Wind, come softly. Don't break the shutters of the windows. Don't scatter the papers. Don't throw down the books from the shelves. What is the poet doing? The poet is scolding the wind. The poet is chiding the wind. And what are we able to see in those 3 lines? Don't break the shutters of the windows. Don't scatter the papers. Don't throw the books down from the shelves. What do you think the wind is doing? Is the wind doing any creative activity here? No. The wind is in a mood of destruction, and the poet is warning the wind, do not destruct. And at the same time, he is talking about the destructive nature of the wind. And you know, at the end of the lesson, the poet also gives us a piece of advice. He tells us the wind is a destructive agent, and the wind will destroy you and everybody around. So how could we fight against the wind? If we make ourselves strong, internally and externally, emotionally and physically, we could fight the wind. In which way? The wind would become our friend. Because we would be strong enough, the wind would also become our friend. And once the wind is your friend, the wind is not going to be doing any destruction in your life. So let us read this poem and let us try to understand what the poet is trying to hint at. Shall we? Okay. So, the poet says, wind, come softly. So, don't blow hard. Come softly. Blow gently. Don't break the shutters of the windows. Don't break the frames of the windows. Don't scatter the papers. Don't throw the papers all around the place. You know, when a strong wind blows, the papers will go flying all over the place. And he says, don't throw down the books on the shelf. The books are arranged beautifully on the shelf. Don't throw them down. Now, what is interesting for us to note, class 9 students, is that these 3 sentences or these 3 lines in this poem, they all begin with the same word. Don't, don't, don't. Now, this is called anaphora. A-N-A-P-H-O-R-A. Now, what is anaphora? Do you think anaphora means any line beginning with the word don't? No. Anaphora means a few lines starting with the same word. A few lines beginning with the same word. And in this case, the word is don't. And the same word should be at the beginning. So, there, look what you did. You threw them all down. So, he warned the wind, don't do these things, but the wind has done it. Which means that I am nothing. A human being is nothing before the power of the wind. The wind is much more powerful than us. isn't it? Okay. So he says, you tore the pages of the books. You brought rain again. You're very clever at poking fun at weaklings. Now, if you notice, the poet is addressing the wind with the words you. He's talking as if he's talking to another person. He's addressing another person. And this again is another figure of speech which is called personification. From the very word personification, what do we understand? We are giving the qualities of a human being to an inanimate object. We are giving the qualities of a human being to a non-living thing, and that is the wind. So that is called personification. So I would like you to mark don't and write there anaphora, okay, anaphora, and I would like you to mark you, your, and write there personification. This is an example of personification. And he says, you're very clever at poking fun at weaklings. It means you are very smart. You know how to hurt people who are weak. Weaklings, those things that are weak, you know how to harm them. Frail, crumbling houses, crumbling doors, crumbling rafters. If you can see, the meaning of rafters is already given to you here. They are wooden pillars that support a building. Okay, wooden structures that support the roof of a house. So you are very good at breaking things which are already crumbling. Crumbling means they are already breaking. And then he says crumbling wood, and then crumbling bodies. Bodies of whom? Bodies of people. People who are physically and emotionally, mentally broken. People having broken hearts. Crumbling lives, crumbling hearts. And now, what do we understand in these few lines? Crumbling, 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 crumbling. Look at it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 times the word crumbling has been repeated. So this is again a figure of speech called repetition. So repeating a particular word several times to show us how broken things might be, how weak things might be, and the wind is attacking those weak things. Now he says, the wind god winnows and crushes them all. The wind is like a god, but not a good god. The wind is like a cruel god. And the wind god crushes and winnows them all. It means the wind god damages anything that is weak. Now, you see the word here, winnows. You can see on page number 31, if you just look on the other side of your page, you can see there the action of winnowing. You know, people take a kind of a tray-like structure, a fiber tray, and they place the seeds on it, and when they shake it like this and drop it down, the chaff, the unnecessary part of the grains will fly away and the grains will fall down. So this is the way to clean the grains. Separate the coverings from the grain. So he is talking about the work of destruction. The wind god destroys all those people who are weak. And then we come to the part where the poet is giving us a piece of advice. So what shall we do? So he says, so come, let's build strong homes. Let us make a strong foundation. Then the wind cannot do anything to us. Let's joint the doors firmly. Make the doors strong. And also he says, practice to firm the body. Make the body also strong. Make the heart steadfast. And also make the heart strong. And therefore what is he saying? Let us be physically, emotionally and mentally very strong. And then what will happen? Do this and the wind will be friends with us. The wind will become your friend. Why? Because you are strong and the wind is strong. You both have become equal to each other. And then coming to the most important part of this poem. Please mark it out very well. The wind blows out weak fires. You will be asked to explain this if it were an examination. What is the meaning of this line? The wind extinguishes. You could write the word extinguishes. It means blows out, finishes. The wind extinguishes weak fires, but he makes strong fires roar and flourish. Have you seen a forest fire? I'll show you one. Can you see that? Yes, that is a forest fire. And you know, when there is a forest fire, if the wind is blowing, do you think the fire goes out? Never. The fire will flourish. The fire will increase and make a loud sound, just as you saw it now. So, the wind has the capacity to blow out small fires, weak fires. But the wind will make a big fire bigger. The wind will make a large fire flourish. And then he says, his friendship is good. Again you see his friendship. Friendship of the wind. The wind is being compared to a person. And so what shall we do? Please mark his and write there personification. Again an example of personification. The meaning of personification? Giving human qualities or attributing human qualities to an inanimate object. So he says, his friendship is good. We praise him every day. If the wind becomes your friend, then we will be praising him every day. So once again, who wrote this poem? This poem was written by Subramanya Bharati. And who translated it into English? It is A.K. Ramanujan. And what do we understand in this poem? In the beginning, the poet is talking about the destructive nature of the wind. And he's telling the wind, don't do certain things. Don't scatter the papers. Don't break the shutters of the windows. And don't throw the books down from the shelf. But do you think the wind is listening to the poet? No. The wind is more powerful than the poet. And the wind does exactly what the poet says don't do. And then the poet understands and makes us understand that if you make yourself strong, remember, physically and emotionally strong, then no wind can do anything to you. So this is also a piece of advice for life. If you are strong within and without, if you are strong from inside and outside, no harm, no obstacles, no challenges can shake you. If you are mentally weak, you may get upset, frustrated and depressed and even move to the point of suicide. But those people who are strong from inside and outside, nothing can shake them. No obstacles can scare them. They will be able to face challenges head on, and they will be the people who overcome those challenges and come out victorious. So this is actually the moral of the story in the poem. Is it clear to all of you? I'm sure it is.